It is that time of the year once again. The football season here in 2023 is here, and welcome to the Fall Sports Preview here at Carmi-White County High School. Cole Carter alongside Chris Myers. It's been a long summer, a long off-season, but we are ready to bring you Carmi-White County football as tonight is the annual Gator Bowl. Going to have a chance to see all of our fall sports teams and, of course, a scrimmage from the Bulldog football team. Chris, it's been a long off-season. I hate summer because there's no football, but here we are. We're back. High school getting started here, actually tonight in Indiana, but, of course, Illinois week 1 is next week. And, man, I'm ready.
I am chomping at the bit, Cole. I tell you what, if you love football, if you love high school football, there is no greater time of year than this. It's back in the air, and like you said, just always that sense of excitement for the players. You know, you're going through the grind of two-a-days, those first couple weeks before your first game. You're right at that point where you're like, I'm tired of hitting each other. I want to play a game. But this is a good chance for these boys to showcase what they worked on so far, give us a little sneak peek preview, and just look forward to what's coming this fall.
So the Bulldogs last season, of course, a 7-3 campaign, of course, a 7-0 start to the year. Things were going great. We're talking, it's just one of the best teams in school history. They run into a buzzsaw of a Johnson City team that went all the way to the semifinals. They lose a tough one against Flore, and then they welcome in a very good Athens team in the first round of the playoffs. And just like that, their season was over. And there's no question, Chris, of course, Isaac King was the leader. And, of course, Draxon, Warren Legg, and so many guys from that great senior class last year. But we knew when we stepped away from this booth last year that there were going to be some young guys, some sophomores, now juniors, now seniors, that could easily fill in those shoes and lead the Bulldogs to success.
You know, and that's always going to be the question on people's mind this season. I mean, what do you do when you have not a one but a two-time All-State tailback who's gone? Okay, high school football is not like Division I college or the NFL. You can't recruit, you can't draft.
Unless you're a private school up north.
Unless you're up north, yeah. Don't get into that water, but anyway. But, you know, the thing that I feel that group left behind to what's the group that's coming this year is their work ethic.
Yep.
Kurt Simon talked about that last year. What that group of seniors brought was just one of the best work ethics collectively that he's ever seen. So this group behind him knows, okay, we got big shoes to fill. Obviously, you can't replace an Isaac King. You can't replace a Draxod, but these young men coming in, they're very talented. There's a very talented group, and what I like about this team, up front, every single guy from tackle to tackle has experience.
Yep.
You're going to have a very experienced offensive line coming back. You got a lot of talent coming back at the skill positions, some kids that have gotten some experience. Some, this is going to be their first time getting major varsity experience, but you got a couple young men. You know, Caleb Siebers, Trayton Vickers had a lot of experience last year in the secondary. They're going to see more time on offense this year. Landon Driscoll looking to be the starting quarterback this year. So we're probably going to spread the ball out a little more. And as we found out late in the year, you may have to have that variation. But I think the big thing is these kids that were kind of waiting last year, kind of biding their time, now it's their opportunity. And I think you're going to see a young but a very hungry group of Bulldogs this year and ready to compete in this conference.
Well, you beat me to it as far as the change in the scenery of what we're going to see for the Bulldogs offensively. Of course, when you have a two-time All-State running back, you don't need to get fancy. 24 crossbook, 23 crossbook, you'll be okay. Right. But the Bulldogs want to switch things up this year. You mentioned Landon Driscoll. He was more of a wide receiver, defensive back last year. Now he's going to play quarterback, and for the first time in a few years, we're going to see this team spread it out, do some pistol, get in the shotgun, and throw the football around. You know, as long as Kurt Simon has been here, it's always been a three-point stance, run the football right at you. There's been a couple years here and there, you know, the Jake Simon years where they wanted to throw the football, but it will be interesting to see how that pans out, especially tonight and in the first couple of weeks.
You know, and the other thing is they know that, okay, we don't have that guy, you know, that we're just, okay, Isaac King. I'm not saying that despairingly. I'm just saying, you know, you needed 3 yards. Everyone knew, okay, we're going to give it to Isaac King. This year, these other boys that are going to fill in are going to be chomping at the bit, but the Bulldogs are going to have to mix it up. But I think that's a positive because, you know, they're going to have some athletic skill set on the perimeter, probably more so than they've had in a few years. And what Coach Simon has always done, he's always used his talent to the best of their ability. So I think with these guys coming in, there's a lot of skill on the edge with Driscoll at the quarterback position, provides some athleticism. You know, people that watch basketball season know he's a 6'4", athlete who can do a lot of things. So I think you'll see him do some things with the football that, really is going to open up this offense a little bit, if anything, and take some of the pressure out of the backfield. Okay, knowing every time, all right, we got to give it to this guy or, run off tackle this play. We may not have to. We can get in spread. We can get in different formations. And you're right, Cole, that's going to benefit the Bulldogs in a lot of ways because, teams have to prepare for more than just an ISO or an off-tackle power. Now they're going to have to say, okay, this team can spread it out a little bit. We got to be ready for that. So I think that variation is going to be a strength for this team this year.
Do want to say a big thank you to all of our Bulldog football sponsors throughout this 2023 season. They are Little Giant, Grocery Outlet, Rice Motor Company, Hale Body Shop, Carmi Lumber Company, Pro Rehab, People's National Bank, Taylor Eye Care, Bush & Associates CPAs, Wabash General Hospital, Higginson's Farm, Hamilton Memorial Hospital, Rush Appliance, Citizens National Bank, Nancy J. Winters CPA, Cherry Street Automotive, Southern Illinois Trading and Supply, First Bank, Expressway Ford, Slay's Carpet, Farrell Hospital, Country Financial Representative Kyle Hosick, and Wabash Christian Village. Great crowd on hand here for the annual Gator Bowl. It's great to hear Trey Mason's voice once again over the public address as we are about ready to meet our fall sport athletes. And, of course, all of the sports teams gathering here tonight. Of course, that being football as well as cross country, girls tennis, volleyball, and boys and girls golf. And the boys and girls golf teams, they started their season last week. Boys picked up a big win yesterday against Harrisburg. So their season's in full swing. A lot of young kids doing really well for, of course, Coach Trey Mason and the Bulldog golfers. So we are patiently waiting for that to get going. Do want to say a big thanks to Haley Winkleman, who's back with us this year, as well as Asher Penrod, for those of you watching, of course, on the WRUL Sports YouTube channel, and the boss man, J.C. Tinsley, here as well to make sure things go smooth.
Yes. Big shout-out to those folks, Cole.
Absolutely.
Because, with technology, you never know minute to minute, but they're there fighting that battle for us, so we really appreciate the job they do.
Had a great first year with the WRUL Sports YouTube channel. It was definitely a trial by fire, testing things out, and we know we had some issues with internet here and there, but hopefully this year is more smooth. We are more experienced veterans now in the streaming world of things, and of course our radio broadcast will also begin next Friday night when the Bulldogs begin their season on the road at Flora. And we'll get into the schedule talk now, Chris. It was found out yesterday that Vienna Goreville is not going to compete at the varsity level this season, second time in 3 seasons. The question might be, will Carmi ever play Vienna again? But then another question is, who's Carmi going to play week 3? That was scheduled for September 9th at Vienna, but now it's an open slate for the Bulldogs.
I tell you, it's a mystery. And at this point, you just have to be bluntly honest. Will Vienna remain in this conference in football? That's going to be a discussion that athletic directors have. So, honestly, I foresee some things changing going into next year. But, and then it begs the question, do you take the off week or do you try to schedule somebody?
Yep.
The competitor and a coach, the competitor and a player says, let's find somebody, If you look at it from you go into week 3, if you got some guys banged up, you're thinking, okay, do we just take the break? But I lean towards you find somebody and you try to play. But, it puts every other team in a tough position because now we're scrambling. Now we're trying to go to other conferences. What can we do? I just think that, in my personal opinion, the conference will change next year. This was probably the last time Vienna will be a part of the Black Diamond as far as football goes.
And talking to some of the coaches, the biggest thing they say, with summer camp and practices, everything's gone well, but just not a lot of guys. Only 36, I believe, that came out freshman through senior this year, and you have that sometimes. And so nutrition and depth and health is going to be a big thing for Carmi this year because next man up is going to be something you don't want to see a whole lot this season.
And unfortunately, it's just becoming a common theme among Southern Illinois. As population bases decrease, as school enrollments decrease, it's just harder to get kids. Mm-hmm. So, sometimes it's just a natural law of numbers, So a lot of other schools may be fighting similar battles. We hope not, because things go in cycles. We hope, sounds like Junior Pro's got some good numbers coming, but it's just the reality in Southern Illinois football right now. When you're smaller schools, it's just going to be a year-to-year thing. But, regardless, we love the sport. The kids that are out give it their absolute heart and soul. We're proud they're out here representing the community, and we look forward to watching them play.
So again, the Bulldogs will begin their season next Friday on the road against the Flora Wolves, the team that defeated the Bulldogs in Week 9 last season to sneak into the playoffs. The Bulldogs will come back home in Week 2 against Hamilton County for their first 2 games of the season. Then is that open Week 3, and we'll be sure to keep fans up to date as we learn. What we do know is that Sparta, another team here in Southern Illinois, they had to cancel their season, so a lot of the BDC teams have tried to reach out to their week-by-week opponents, but we'll get cross that bridge when we get there. It is now time to meet the fall sport athletes here for the 2023 sports season. As again, Trey Mason doing the honors for the public address, and we're going to meet the cross-country runners this fall, head coached by the great Eric Dixon. His seniors are Trey Dixon, Lane Calloway, Ian Mosier are his 3 seniors. He's also got 2 juniors, Luke Bowlerjack and Jade Albright. Got a couple of sophomores, Gabby Conover and Allie Pollard, and 1 freshman, who is Andrew Benham. So the cross-country team for Carmi-White County getting introduced here for the fall sports preview. Of course, Eric Dixon, one of many coaches, it seems like he's been here forever. And he's really good at what he does.
He is. I was in school with him.
Oh, yeah.
Him and your dad both. Tell you how old I am. But, yeah, Eric was a fantastic track athlete himself. 400-meter dash was his specialty, if I recall.
Always said about Eric, if you get kids to come out to run, you're a pretty good coach.
Exactly. What was the old saying? Our sport is your sport's punishment.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
Cross-country
absolutely.
Thing, so, yeah.
So we will meet the boys and girls golf team next. Mentioned they started their season last week, and boys off to a hot start. Girls almost beat Harrisburg yesterday at home, but the boys did pull off the win. First golfer, Connor Newell, making his way out, as well as Aiden Willis, Maxon O'Daniel, and then Jordan Tomasetti. Big team this year for the boys and girls golf team. Yeah. Gabe Winkleman, they're up next. Then Abe Girton. A lot of young guys as well. Most of these guys sophomores. Jax Jordan, another sophomore. As well as Garrett Catlin. And Cooper French. Miles Barnett. Caden Holloman. Cole Kingston. And the final 2, Reese Whitley and Connor Benham, one of the bigger golf teams that Carmi has had in the past few years. A lot of youngsters, a lot of freshmen and sophomores making up this crew. And they're looking like they've kind of got back into that rhythm. Remember a few years back, those back-to-back trips to the state tournament. Yeah. They're looking very strong early on in the season. A 4th-place finish last week against the Mount Carmel Invitational, and 2 first-place finishes so far this week as well.
Yeah, Coach Mason, we were talking to him just a little bit before he came on the air, and he said when this team's on, he said they can compete with anybody.
Yep.
He's hoping just to get some consistency with them, but he said when they're on, it's going to be a good team.
Well, I'll meet the girls golfers. Ava Sheaver, who had a fantastic sophomore season last year, back for her junior campaign. She's really picked up where she left off. Also, Courtney Snow walking out behind her. Maeve Atterbury. And Kinley Carter. And Sadie Boulding. Caitlin Davis. And Eva Grogan is the final girls golfer. Grogan, excuse me. Learn some of these freshmen and their names. Eva Grogan, the last girls golfer, making her way out. And they'll be in action again on Monday, I believe. They will travel to West Frankfort. As golf gets a pretty early start as far as high school sports. Normally teams don't even practice until the second week of August. Well, they start their matches second week of August. So Plenty of time to get some matches in. We'll meet the girls tennis team coached by legendary Chris Cordy in his final season.
I tell you, his very first year here teaching was my junior year.
Wow.
I was in his very first history class, so
now I say
another
that,
bit of history.
I say that I'm not sure if it's his final season coaching, but this is his last year
teaching
as a teacher here at Carmi-White County High School. And if you ask any student in the crowd tonight, they'll tell you he's one of their favorite teachers. But
absolutely.
The girls' tennis players this year, 3 seniors, Johanna Smith, Katie Simmons, and Mackenzie Williams. So 3 seniors. He's got 5 juniors, Miley Cronin, Ellie Kaiser, Olivia Cox, Callie Acord, and Nevaeh Hampton, as well as 4 sophomores, Jovi Wagner, Olivia Dean, Allie Albright, and Natalie Gomat, and just 1 freshman, Johanna Zirin, rounding things out for head coach Chris Cordy as they will begin their season on Monday as they travel to Salem. That will be the start of their season.
Have to give a shout out to Ellie Kaiser, my niece down there. So do one shameless plug for the year. So
they're wrapping up being introduced, and we will have the volleyball team next, and then the cheerleaders, followed by the football team. Then we'll have a introduction and performance from the Marching Bulldogs and the color guard squad for this season. So again, Johanna Zirin, the lone freshman for the girls tennis team, as they're being introduced here at the 2023 Fall Sports Preview here at Carmi-White County High School. School began back on Tuesday for CWCHS. It's always an exciting time here when school starts back up. Next thing you know, it's going to be cold in December before you know it.
It's always just such a great scene this time of year, just the newness of the air that, all the school year starting, the kids are excited, seeing, and I think it's great how they've changed things to honor all the fall teams here in recent years, and, it's just a great sight seeing all these kids out here.
Just heard Trey Mason mention it over to my right that if you're looking for something to do tomorrow morning, I believe at 9 a.m. is when they begin, is the annual 200-point showcase for the Lady Bulldog volleyball team. It's kind of their Gator Bowl, a little preview scrimmage as, again, they begin their season on Monday as they host Mount Carmel. And for the first time, you'll be able to watch Lady Bulldog volleyball matches on the WRUL Sports YouTube channel. Our crew will be there. Jason Craig coming back behind the mic. He's going to be the voice of Lady Bulldog volleyball this year on the WRUL Sports YouTube channel. Looking forward to that. All right, let's meet the Lady Bulldog volleyball players coached by Chris Lucas. Sophomore, he's got the numbers on here as well. He's ready. He's got this organized and ready, does Coach Lucas. Number 2 is going to be Jaya Smith. She's a sophomore. Addie Elliott is also a sophomore. Grace Sneed is a freshman. Kylie Frazier is a freshman. Caroline Simmons, a sophomore. She was an all-conference player last season. As a freshman, she had a great year. Audrey Taylor is a sophomore. Addie Lamont, a freshman. Callie Winter, a freshman. Lily Dodson is a freshman as well. Eva Atterbury, a freshman. Tori Ryder, a sophomore. Just, I believe, 1 senior this year for the Lady Bulldogs. That is Mara Serafini. Paige Jackson, she's a junior. Elena Johnson is a junior. Ella Newell is a freshman. Jaylee Smith-Peter is a freshman. Kinley Kay is a freshman. Riley Roark, a junior. Lauren Brzezinski, a junior. Ashlyn Rager, a junior. And Brooke Rommiller is a freshman. So we mentioned that the golf team is very young. This volleyball team very young as well. These freshmen and well, now sophomore and freshman classes had a lot of success at the junior high level, especially on the girls' side of things. The now sophomore class really made an impact last year as freshmen, not only in volleyball, but in girls' basketball and as well as softball. Very rare you see that many freshmen getting the chance to just compete at the varsity level, but making a difference and leading the team as just freshmen.
Yeah, and, if you're Coach Lucas, you're excited to have a young nucleus like that. From everything the past couple of seasons, volleyball teams had some really, really solid years, and, you got a young core like that coming back. Especially, to my recollection, Fairfield is a very solid volleyball program. Yeah. So throw these young ladies in the mix, you're going to have a really good conference in volleyball. And this team could do some big things this fall.
The Southern Illinois coaches poll came out earlier this week. Fairfield, as you mentioned, was number 1. Norris City was also there in the top 5. Carmi, number 5, and the coaches poll for Southern Illinois. So it might be a young team, but the expectations are high for Chris Lucas and his squad. And they'll start their season at home on Monday against the Mount Carmel Golden Aces. And again, you'll be able to watch that game right here on the WRUL Sports YouTube channel. Going to be a fun fall sports season here at the Fall Sports Preview as we are meeting all of our fall sport athletes.
One more time for the volleyball team.
As the volleyball team gets one last round of applause before they walk off the field tonight. And again, if you're looking for something to do tomorrow, their 200-point Classic Showcase annual performance from them is tomorrow morning here at the high school. A chance to get a preview of this year's volleyball team. All right, we'll meet the fall cheerleaders for Carmi-White County this season. We've got 2 seniors this year. Amy Whitley is the cheerleading coach at the high school level. Maggie Gross and Madison Smitty are the 2 seniors this season. 3 juniors, they are Andy Gardner, Cammie Oliver, and Reagan Whitley. They got 2 sophomores, or correction, 3 sophomores. Grayson Barbary, Ellie King, and Michaela Siebers with a couple of freshmen, Whitley Barbary and Braylon Russell. So, of course, they have a separate group of your fall cheerleaders and your winter cheerleaders for those girls that do want to play volleyball, but they are ready to cheer on the Bulldogs this fall. And, of course, Amy Whitley doing a great job as she has every year with them.
Yeah, it's they're there fall through all winter, so it's a big commitment. And these girls do a great job, put forth a great effort, and put a lot of time and work in.
And they start early.
Yeah,
it's late at the end of the school year where they're going through tryouts, and they pretty much spend all summer learning new things and getting ready for this season. It's definitely not easy work, especially when you're cheering for a pretty good football team and all those push-ups and jumping jacks for all those touchdowns. Those girls do work hard and doing a great job as always. So, again, they're getting introduced, and I believe after they will be done, we will meet all of the Bulldog football players before we get a performance from the Marching Bulldogs, and we'll have the national anthem, and then we will get ready to get a preview of this year's football team. So one last cheer for the Bulldog cheerleaders here in 2023. Still getting used to some of these athletes who were sophomores last year. I'm so used to calling them sophomores, calling them freshmen, and now here they are. It's just crazy how quickly the summer went by, and now it's a new school year.
I mean, I could literally, like it was yesterday, we were here doing our last playoff game.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's like yesterday that happened. So time goes really quick.
So we'll start with the freshman football players as they are jogging in from the west end zone. 10 freshmen this year: Jacob Adams, Javen Agan, Jace Digman, Riley Dodson, Jazz Duckworth, Daniel Duty, Aiden Jordan, Bryson Stevens, Layden Vargas, and Dylan Weinerberger are your 10 freshman Bulldogs this season. So again, no freshman team, but these kids will get plenty of JV experience, and who knows, with a small team like this, you can never count out a freshman possibly getting thrown in at a varsity experience. But a lot of these kids playing for the first time. A couple of these kids were just baseball guys only last year. It's always good to see freshmen come out, giving football a try, and they usually love it most of the time, of course.
Oh, yeah, and it's what they worked for, the ones that played junior pro. When I was doing that, I'd always tell them, you're going to blink an eye and you're going to be out here and you're going to be a senior. Well, a lot of these kids are seniors, but these freshmen, to go back to that, this is, kind of a step up for them. Their first taste of getting in front of a big crowd, experience Friday night lights, and, just their first taste of being a part of the varsity program. So, they're going to get some good experience in the JV games because, it is a lot different. You're going to be playing kids older than you, some sophomores every now and then. They'll throw some juniors in there, but, definitely exciting time for them.
Now meeting the Bulldog sophomores, Madden Anderson, as well as Nolan Odd and Ryan Evans. 8 sophomores this year for Kurt Simon. Michael Miller, as well as Merrick Milhorn, somebody who very well could be in the mix at a skill position at the varsity level. Josiah Perez, Dakota Southard, and Easton Sullivan. 8 sophomores this year for the Bulldogs. So maybe not enough for a freshman team, but still you got 18 guys, 18, 17, give or take, that you're going to be able to play a full JV schedule. And, it's so important at the high school level to make sure you get those JV games and freshman games. Over the past, 10 or so years, you never really know if you're going to have enough for a freshman team, but getting that experience at that younger level is so vital for when these guys get to be juniors and seniors. Speaking of juniors, we'll introduce the juniors, 7 of them this year. Cade Allen, CJ Brannigan, Eli Bryant, Beck Huff, Noah Pollard, Cade Stockton, and Cale Wiggins. Now, this junior class is the skill position class. Of course, you got the big Eli Bryant, but, man, you talk about some speedsters that are in this class, and we're going to see some of them tonight. Cade Allen, Noah Pollard, Cade Stockton, Cale Wiggins, all are and Beck Huff as well. All are going to be guys that are going to have the football in their hands this season.
Yeah, they are little buzzsaws, all of them. I don't mean little. They're all gym rats. Noah Pollard, see him all the time lifting weights. I mean, they're going to be an exciting group. And that's the skill position nucleus coming in that's going to provide a little more variety this year to the Bulldog offense. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. You got, like I said, Pollard and Wiggins. We've seen what they can do, with their speed. So some of these other kids getting that chance to step in, it's going to be exciting.
8 seniors this year for Kurt Simon and the Bulldog football team. Connor Buchanan, Andrew Dodson, Landon Driscoll, Austin Owen, Gavin Payton, Nelson Ryder, Caleb Siebers, and Trayton Vickers. All 8 guys had significant playing time and significant roles of the team last season. It's always great because when you have a great senior class like Carmi did last year, to have a great junior class to fill their shoes, that's got to feel good for Kurt Simon.
Absolutely. You're just – there's some years you have a senior class that's just incredible, like the one you had last year, and then – behind them, you're like, okay, what is there? How do we recover? Well, this senior class coming in this year, as far as work ethic, talent, you're not missing anything because this group is, in my opinion, super talented. A great group of kids, hard workers, very coachable. All the intangibles you want is in that senior class. And again, like what you've said in the past, when you have a senior class with those kind of work ethics, those kind of good habits, the good attitudes, those things trickle down to the classes behind them. And that's what the younger guys learn from them. So, I'm really looking forward to seeing what these guys do.
So now they're going to introduce the Marching Bulldogs, and there's a lot of them to introduce this year. Grace Sinclair, her second year, with the direction of this band, and she did a phenomenal job last year in her first year. But she got some 8th graders helping her out this year. They are Kaylee Adams, C.J. Atkins, Shayla Bowlby, Kyson Clark, Noah Collard, Tyson Heiss, James Hutchcraft, Isaac Carnes, Colt Smock, Keely Vaughn, and Skyla Wolf. So a big group this year for the Marching Bulldogs. Of course, going to make some noise during football games, but a lot of the festivities that go around in the fall, whether it's corn days, popcorn days, infield days, things going on around town, you're going to see them marching in big parades. And I always say it, Chris, you see those guys walking around with those the suits that that are just so thick and so hot in those hot summer days. And you just got to tip your cap to those kids because they work just as hard as any of these athletes do. No question about it.
And they were out here. They even had a week or two, I think a few weeks back. My nieces in the band said they had like some all-day sessions, out here working and putting in effort. And, during the week they're rehearsing what they got to do for each home game and the parade. So, yeah, definitely hats off to these kids in the band and Grace for the job she does with them. They do a phenomenal job. And I tell you, one of my favorite memories from last year was when the lights went off at the Fairfield game. And then the drum corps comes out and just puts on a show.
Absolutely.
People with their cell phone lights. Things like that are just absolutely awesome. So, hats off to them all.
Let's meet our Marching Bulldog freshmen. They are Gage Anderson, Maddox Birchfield, George Carpenter, Jazz Duckworth, Danica McCombs-Horn, Paul Jackson, Angel Yanovich, Aaliyah Kuber, Jackson Lennon, Bristol Mendaka, and Mackenzie Service are your freshmen for the Marching Bulldogs. Now on to the sophomores. Gabby Conover, Addie Dosher, Emily Glosser, Aiden Pretsch, Tori Ryder, Jacqueline Stevens, Chloe Veach, and Jovi Wagner are your Marching Bulldog sophomores. Now on to the juniors. It's Hannah Collins, Kyler Fisher, Jonathan Huff, Ellie Kaiser, Shay Mendonksa, and Courtney Snow. And we'll move on to the seniors. Just 2 seniors this year for the Marching Bulldogs, and you can't tell the 2 of them apart. Brandy Hyman and Brooke Hyman. Seeing them 2 around the hallways last year, it'd almost be scary seeing those 2 twins. But those are your Marching Bulldogs seniors this year, and we'll get into the Guard Dogs color guard squad here momentarily as well, as they have 6 of them this season. 1 8th grader, Bella Conover, a couple of freshmen, Alexis Gates, as well as Cassie McPherson. 1 sophomore, Gracie Clodfelter, 1 junior, Kimberly Clark, and 1 senior, Annalise Shorb.
I'm glad you clarified what those were. When he said that earlier, the guard, I was trying to figure that out. So.
Yep.
All right.
The
Now
color
I know.
guard, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And normally, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe in the years past there's more just kind of a basketball thing. But in the past few years, they've gone out here in the fall and had some performances during the football season as well. But with that, we have made it through every fall sport athlete this season. Thank you, Hale. I knew there was a winter guard. You've got your guard dogs in the fall, and winter guard is in, of course, the winter. Thank you for Haley for clearing that up for me. But I believe we'll get a performance here from the Marching Bulldogs, and it will feature the national anthem. And then we will get ready for a little snippet of Bulldog football on what's turned out to be a beautiful August night. A little bit warm when we got here, but a cool 75 degrees right now.
Preparing for the oven that's supposed to open next week, according to the forecast.
It's going to be a sweat box up there in Florida next Friday night.
This weather this week is just teasing us a little bit.
Absolutely.
So it's going to turn right back to summer.
So I do know they are going to perform the national anthem. Don't want to cut away too soon. And they are going to do the national anthem. So while they're doing that, we'll go ahead and step aside while they perform the national anthem. When we come back, we'll get you ready for the annual Gator Bowl. It's the fall sports preview here on the WRUL Sports YouTube channel.
When it comes to tax preparation, experience counts. Hi, this is Dewana with Butch & Associates CPAs in Carmi. Taxes are complicated, but choosing a tax professional shouldn't be. We have the knowledge and experience to make the most of your tax return. Turn to the professionals at Butch & Associates CPAs in Carmi. Call 382-4151. That's 382-4151. Also visit online at butch.com. That's BOTSCH.com.
Hello, Bulldog fans. This is Kyle Hosick with Country Financial. It's been great coming back to my hometown of Carmi, supporting our Bulldogs as well as my current and future clients. Whether you're looking for auto or home insurance, insurance for your business, life insurance, or a retirement plan, I can help. I take pride in quality customer service and promise to listen to what's important to you while ensuring you have the right coverages. Stop by my office to see what sets us apart. Country Financial Representative Kyle Hosick, 603 West Main in Carmi.
Teamwork. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress, and working together is success. Carmi Lumber celebrates the student athletes competing and wishes them great success. Depend on the team at Carmi Lumber for all success with your home projects. Electrical, plumbing, lumber, hardware, and more. Before you drive a nail, drive to Carmi Lumber. Visit them on North 3rd Street in Carmi or carmilumber.net. Carmi Lumber, proud supporter of area athletes.
Summer is here, along with the scorching heat and relentless humidity. But don't sweat it. Visit Cherry Street Automotive and get an air conditioning checkup to make sure your AC is cooling properly, even on the hottest days. The pros will also check your tires and change your oil, too. Call Cherry Street Automotive in Carmine, 618-382-7165. That's 382-7165. And beat the heat. Cherry Street Automotive, your partners in auto repair. Citizens National Bank of Albion has always been in the business of making dreams come true.
Are you like many in the community that have dreamed of owning your own business?
Bring your ideas in and speak to one of our commercial loan professionals in Albion, Olney, Crossville, and Bridgeport.
Our competitive rates and solid decision making will make it the best decision you've ever made.
Let us help you get started, and we'll watch your business grow.
Citizens National Bank of Albion, know better banking.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
All right, welcome back to Harrington Jeffrey Sports Complex for the 2023 Fall Sports Preview as the CWC Marching Bulldogs just got done performing the national anthem as well as the school fight song with the fall cheerleaders. Over to our right, now it is time for the Gator Bowl, part of the evening, as the Bulldog football team will run onto the field. They'll go through their normal pregame routine, and we'll get a chance to see this year's squad. Chris, I'm just really interested to see the whole first-team offense. I think that's what everybody wants to see. Of course, last year, the big show with Isaac King, Drax, and on, but it's almost like a lot of new faces. It's not quite new faces, but some guys that are in new roles, I guess you could say. A lot of guys that weren't the first number one option to get the football now are.
Yeah. Again, when you've had the backfield that's been back there with the 1-2 punch of King and Odd the last couple seasons, you got some guys chomping at the bit for their turn. Well, now it's their turn. It's their time to shine. And I think, if you think the philosophy of Carmine is going to change, it's not. Mm-hmm. I can still assure you Kurt Simon is a 3 yards in a cloud of dust guy. That will not change. But I think the biggest difference this year with this offense is with the athleticism we got at the skill positions, we're going to be able to mix things up a little more. We were a very, very just run-heavy team last year, and when we had to get out of it, sometimes it was difficult. This year, it's going to be a little different. With the speed on the edge, with some kids at skill position, get out wide, catch the ball a little bit, I think you're going to see Carmine mix it up a little more this year than we have in the past.
And definitely will be exciting to see and interesting to see how that works tonight. We'll get a good preview of it, and of course, next Friday when it's for real, when they travel up to Flora, take on a very good Flora Wolves football team. Do want to take a second and recognize our Bulldog football coaching staff, one of the best in the business. Of course, head coach Kurt Simon in I should have looked this up before, I believe year 26 or 7.
He started in 1997.
Yeah.
It was his first season. So
year
he's 27.
He's at the helm,
yeah,
as well as his assistants Clinton Wolf, Kevin Wolf, Mark Stendeback, John Lamp, and Spud Egbert, as well as Bennett Richter down in the end zone. He is the athletic trainer. These guys have been doing it together for a long time, and they know what they're doing. They know the recipe for a successful campaign, and I really do think you go back to these seniors, their freshman year, the COVID season, the disaster that was, an 0-6 campaign. A year later, you're in the playoffs. A year later, you're a win away from being a conference champion. You still make the playoffs again, and just how the culture has shifted in the past couple of years. And these freshmen have seen the lows and the highs of both.
Yeah, they've been through it all. And the thing is, they've learned.
Yeah.
They've learned from both ends of the spectrum, okay? At the low points, what's our attitude like? What do we do to get better? How do we dig through this? We don't want to go through this again. At the high points, okay, how do we maintain this? We've learned. We've learned from the guys ahead of us. We've bought into what the coaching staff has taught us, and it just comes down to some key elements, Cole. It's how hard you work. It's not always talent. The thing about football that's different from a lot of other sports is what you do in the off season is so critical to your success, and it starts in that building over there where the weights are, hitting the weight room, grinding it out during the two-a-days, during camp, the hot days. It's 100 degrees outside and you're pushing a sled and you're dreading life at certain moments. But it's how you push through those moments that get you to your reward out here. I always use the term, I was coaching, your mom always said you got to do what? you got to eat your vegetables before you get your cake, right? Well, practice is eating your vegetables.
Yep.
Okay, it doesn't taste good, it's not fun, but it's good for you.
Yep.
Because learning in practice, working hard in practice, your reward is the game. That's when you eat your cake there at the game. So I think these guys getting through these first 2 weeks, and especially next week, the excitement's going to build because now it's officially game week come Monday. So they're going to do their preparations. Monday is probably a light day. Tuesday, Wednesday, full pads. Thursday, walkthrough. And then Friday night, it's showtime.
Yep.
So, it's for them tonight is just about getting a chance just to break the monotony a little bit, play in front of a crowd, work out some energy, and, they'll keep things pretty basic, pretty vanilla in this. You don't want to risk injuries, but still, these kids are going to be raring to go.
Well, you talked about the weather this week being a tease. I always thought as a player that the Gator Bowl was kind of a tease because you're in the locker room getting ready as it's a game. You're on the field getting ready as it's a game, but it's just not quite the same, but it's just enough to get you over for the next week until it's time to line up against somebody wearing a different color.
Yeah. And, I think one thing to talk about this team, the consistency, I really feel this too. We've talked about the skill positions, but the consistency of this team and the strongest point, you ask any of these coaches what it is, and it is to me, is the offensive line. Once again, you have 4 players with experience and a lot of experience. Gavin Payton, Nelson Ryder, Connor Buchanan has had some experience, and Austin Owen. Owen, Ryder, and Payton were 3 starters last year. Okay, you're going to plug in with those guys. Connor Buchanan's had some varsity experience. He's filled in when needed. But you're going to plug in Eli Bryant, the 310-pound. Now he's a junior. Last year he was a starter mainly on the D-line as a sophomore. But that's a 310-pound kid who's got the strength of – he's grown man strong.
Yep.
I've seen that kid. So, to me, he's going to be an X factor in there with his size. And this is a kid that I feel needs to have a breakout season on both sides of the ball. He's got to be a difference maker up front. But, Nelson Ryder, another kid who's just – last two years since he was a sophomore, been a huge contributor. Just a strong kid. Pound for pound, one of the strongest kids I've ever seen. Gavin Payton, a hard hitter, will get after it. Austin Owen, consistent, just a consistent, hard-working lineman who gets the job done. And then, like I said, Connor Buchanan, another great kid that's going to step in, play the center position, and just he's a worker. Some of these kids, I had the privilege of being an assistant with wrestling last winter, something I never done, but a lot of these kids I got to know during the wrestling season, and their work ethic, Nelson Ryder being one of them up there, just from that season is just second to none. So I think this group up front is going to be every bit of what we had last year, and as they go, it's just football. This is the rule of football. You go as your offensive line goes up front. Defense, same thing. You go as your D-line goes. Football is won in the trenches. No matter what kind of skill guys you have, if you don't have a good line, it's a moot point. So, in some levels of football, lower levels, if you got a kid who can just outrun everybody, you don't have to have much in front of it. But at this level, how far you go, how well you play is dictated by those 5 guys up front. And I think this is one of the most solid groups we've had in a long time.
Well, and you mentioned great kids. A lot of these kids, I'm sure if you ask Coach Simon, all the other coaches, that these kids aren't going to give you many problems as far as your attitude and your effort. You know what you're going to get from these kids, and that means a lot as a coach. I know it as a coach. As a coach, when you have those kids that you don't have to tell them twice. They do things without being told. They know what they know what's expected, and then it comes to Friday night, it's just second nature for them.
It is. It really is. And like I said, if you played the game, the first 2-3 weeks of a football season is not easy. It is a mental grind. Going in early in the morning, and it's already hot and humid outside, and you're doing the belly flops, you're hitting the sled, you're doing things that aren't a lot of fun. Yeah. It's just the monotony of 2 days. It is a mental grind, but that is for a bigger purpose. Doing those things when no one is watching is the key to how well you do things when people are watching. So how well you prepare down the end of College Boulevard determines how well you play out here at Harrington Jeffries Field and throughout every game this year. But when you have solid upperclassmen who don't, if you have upperclassmen that have attitudes, or let's just say it bluntly, kids, you have to get on. Kids, you got to, hey, come on, let's get to work. the younger guys see that. And like anything, bad seeds can spread just like good seeds can.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have good kids in your senior class, in your junior class, it's a contagious thing. So, again, and it makes it, from a coaching standpoint, it makes things so easy. And like Coach Simon has told us again and again, when you have upperclassmen with great attitudes, it builds everything. It just makes your job easy.
The Bulldogs are through their pregame routine stretches, and normally we see the JV offense to start. I feel like they switch it up every year, but I believe we'll see the JVers get a crack at it first. And we will get ready to rock and roll. See Spud Egbetter out there walking on near midfield. Junior Pro, they start their season tomorrow as they will play at Vienna. Their first home game will be next Saturday. So they've been talking about kids working hard. Those kids have been down at the end of College Boulevard working hard as well. They're going to start their campaign tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be a hot one.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. But always great to see those youngsters get out, and that's where it all begins.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been said, does a youth program benefit things? I will always be a firm believer, not being biased, that it does, because when you got kids that come into high school that have 2-3 years of football under their belt, it's like a machine.
Yep.
They know what to do. They know what to expect. They know the offense. Yes, if you didn't have it, you just start them as freshmen, you have more numbers, but you're taking them from square one.
So right out the gate, we're going to get a chance to see his first team offense. And there he is, Landon Driscoll in the shotgun. He is going to be your starting quarterback this season. Caleb Siebers gets the handoff on the first play, and he bursts to the line of scrimmage as they blow this play dead. Not going to see many tackles at all tonight.
No.
Just maybe a wrap, a little two-hand touch. Obviously, you don't want anybody to even think about getting hurt tonight. But the main thing is the offense and the type of play calls. It's going to be totally different than what we've seen the past couple of years.
Yeah, it's not going to necessarily be power eye every snap. You're going to see some of this right here. And again, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's Cade Allen coming wide to the right, to the left, near side. As Beck Huff in the slot. As now it's Noah Pollard in the backfield, standing next to Driscoll. This is Trayton Vickers on the sweep to the left side, and Vickers with a nice gain. We'll get about 10 yards there before they play that one dead. And Trayton Vickers was a guy last year, a defense-only guy, but he's athletic. You know that about him. And there's so many athletes. And when you've got such depth at the skill positions, you can plug in guys for different gadget plays, jet sweeps, or whatever it may be, quick passes, long passes, so many different guys that you can continuously rotate in. The options are unlimited for Carmine.
They are. And you nailed it, Cole. I mean, Vickers and Siebers were just two defensive guys last year, so we're going to see what they can do on the offensive side of the ball.
Andrew Dotson is the wing back here, left side at the end of the line of scrimmage. Here's a pass from Driscoll as he rolls out to his right. And a nice catch there made by, it's Cade Stockton. I'm going to do my best not to call him Branton this season.
Yeah.
His older brother who graduated last season. But Cade, another one of those juniors who, got a little bit of time in special teams, got in late in games last year as a lot of these sophomores did. But he's going to be one of those guys right in the mix.
And you see what he can do. He's got a good set of hands. He can catch. You'll see him play tight end. But that's another kid who's going to emerge offensively this year.
So it looks like Carmine will go to a power eye look here. As that is Siebers there, dotting the I in the back. Dotson, I couldn't tell the fullback directly behind Driscoll, but Driscoll will give it up inside to Dotson. He'll shed one tackle and then get about 5 before they play that play dead.
Looks like, I don't know if that's Pollard or.
We're going to have a hard time trying to figure out who's in the game.
Jersey tucked up. I'm not sure who that was either, but. Going back to the play before that, watching Driscoll back there in the shotgun, that's something else. He's 6'4", lean, athletic, and you saw him rolling to his right. He's got some speed. So, that's another element that, we can throw in. He could run the ball a little bit out of the spread. So
Carmine's going to go back to that power eye, and that is Noah Pollard directly behind Driscoll. And
a
little bit of confusion, which you'll have in the Gator Bowl. Guys not 100% sure what spots they need to be in. But it's now Pollard dotting the I. And Dotson and Siebers behind Driscoll, who's under center. Going to go with a play-action pass here. Driscoll, lots of time from the offensive line. And a beauty of a pass. That is Caleb Siebers for a touchdown.
That was a familiar play for Bulldog fans to watch last year.
Yep.
Play action out of the power eye. Of course, our running game always set that up so beautifully all season long. But very nice ball there by Driscoll. Good form in the pocket, set his feet. Helps when you have time, but good looking throw there.
I guess that will unofficially be our first bank touchdown of the season. They're going to donate $6 for every Bulldog touchdown this season. Last winter, they donated 3 points to every three-pointer the Lady Bulldogs and Bulldogs made to the school district. They're doing the same this fall for $6 for every Bulldog touchdown. So going back the other direction, here's a toss near side to Noah Pollard, and there's just a glimpse of the speed that kid had. I don't think he broke a jog right there. But a nice job by some of those backs getting upfield. And then again, we're going to see that spread with the pistol, but you know, Kurt Simon, he just can't help himself. He's going to have to go with that power eye, wing. We're going to see plenty of that this year.
The run game will always, and he'll be the first to tell you, will always be his bread and butter. That's his system. That's what's the phrase they like to use? That's my jam. That's his. In between the tackles, power sweeps. But we're trips now.
Trips to the left, Driscoll in the shotgun, back to passes. At Siebers there, shielding the edge, and that ball is going to be tipped away and knocked away. Merrick Milhorn was the one who tipped that pass. He was looking for Beck Huff downfield.
Nice to see some, just him winging that ball out there. Again, looks good back there in the pocket. Big, tall kid, and at 6'4", that does help because you can see things. You can see things a lot better when you're that tall.
And you just think back to last year and Carmi, the little amount they threw the football, and the answer I always said was they didn't need to. Very few situations did Carmi really need to throw the ball, and you had a guy like Warren Legg who was very capable of making those passes, but adding the athletic ability of Driscoll is just a whole new level. There's a quick screen pass there to Beck Huff, and he'll turn that one upfield and get pushed out of bounds.
Yeah, the variety Driscoll is going to bring, again, just from the athletic standpoint. Warren was just phenomenal. And like I had said, him even playing last year was, a miracle, just the gruesome knee injury he had as a junior. So for Warren to do what he did last fall was just incredible. But, with his knee, it kind of limited his mobility. But, with Driscoll, again, you watched him on the hardwood last winter. He's a tremendous athlete, can do some things.
Back in the shotgun here, fakes the handoff to Siebers, and another nice pass. That's Trayton Vickers out in front, and really two of the long passes from Driscoll. You can tell he's leading his receivers.
Yeah.
First it was Siebers, that time Vickers.
Nice little wheel route out there. Vickers coming in motion, just coming out in the flats. And that's that variation when you got some athletes back there and you can run motion like that. Get him out in the flats, force one-on-one coverage. And Driscoll, man, he's throwing some nice footballs tonight.
They go two receivers wide to the near side. Allen on the sideline and Huff in the slot. Fake the handoff to Pollard. Back to pass again. Wide open. That is Cade Stockton for another Bulldog touchdown. And it's nothing too complicated, Chris. It's simple.
Yeah, it's just, just widening out, shotgun, slot receiver, twins to the right, just motion, split the safeties, as the wing back splits the middle. The outside receiver draws the safety to the edge, and then you just split them right down the middle. And when you have time, you just got to know where your receivers are, know what your options are. And, and it's a big thing as a quarterback. Tonight it's going to be, fairly easy because you're going to have time to throw. You're going to know what your options are. But the big thing as a quarterback is, and it's so hard to do because the TV doesn't do it justice. When you're back there, you have seconds. Mm-hmm. You have maybe 3 seconds to make a decision. So you can't panic when there's pressure. Know your options and be smart with the football.
Allen and Huff out wide to the near side. Here's a double reverse, and going to the far side is Beck Huff. A little trickery, as first it was Vickers who got the handoff, then a toss to Huff, as he takes a hit from Milhorn there on the far side of the field.
It's a Gator Bowl. None of them want to back down.
That was always, the linemen, you always want to get that pancake block in the Gator Bowl or the big the big hit on a long play.
Milhorn saying, hey, I'm out here too. I'm not going to let you steal the limelight the whole time.
And Mayor Milhorn, one of those guys that
Yeah.
I bet if we see the first team defense tonight, he'll probably be out there, a sophomore that's going to be right in the mix
Yes.
at some of these positions.
Yeah. Another 6'5", 165-pound sophomore, athletic kid.
And the shotgun here is Driscoll. Back to pass here. He's got time, looks, now throws one to the near sideline. Wide open is Cade Allen. I'm really excited about this kid. Watching him play baseball this spring. I think if you put every player on the goal line and said run to the other goal line, Allen's got him by about 20 yards. He is a speedster.
Definitely. You know, and the thing is, him, Noah Pollard, and Wiggins, I mean, they're just compact muscle. You know, they're only 160, 170 pounds, but every ounce of it is muscle.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
You
and
mentioned
they got a lot
Pollard,
of power.
how much he lifts weights.
All
All
the
those
time.
kids are the same way.
All the time.
They still do their lifting in PE, and during the summer, they're still lifting in the morning. But if you drive by Pollard's gym in the afternoon, you're going to see their vehicles there. They've got really good habits.
Yeah, believe it or not, I go there. You wouldn't know by looking at me, but I'll see all those boys in there. I say, did you already lift this morning? Said, yeah, we're just getting extra in.
They go to the T formation here, and this is Andrew Dotson hearing his name for the first time. And, you know, he was kind of a guy that was, you know, didn't get the shine that Odd and King did last year. You know, he paved the way for them being a fullback leading the way, and occasionally he would get his number called. And his yards per carry at the beginning of the year was unreal because nobody expected number 11 to get the ball. But he's got some real speed as well.
And he does, and he's put on some size. You know, he's almost 200 pounds. So he wanted to do that just to bulk up, to pound between the tackles.
Two receivers each side here for Driscoll. He'll throw to the far sideline. That's going to be caught by Stockton, who makes a nice move and gets about 10 yards there before they blow the play dead.
That was a very nice route. Those, what they call comeback routes. You know, you see the receiver just run about 10 yards, plant, and turn around. Those passes are so dependent on timing. The quarterback and the receiver have to be in sync, because the danger on those throws, if the quarterback's a second late or the receiver's a second late turning around, it's either going to be an interception or you're throwing the ball over their head. It's just not good results. So those comeback routes are all about timing.
Bulldogs go back to the wing tee here. And Driscoll will go back to pass here on play action. Down the field he goes, and a high pass off the hands of Trayton Vickers, a little bit out of the reach. And that one falls incomplete. But, Chris, one thing I've noticed is we kind of made the allusion to the Jake Simon days about, 8 or so years ago when the Bulldogs did spread things out. I feel like in those seasons it was more of having Jake sit in the pocket with time to throw. This is more of your quick passes, your screens. Driscoll is not going to be holding the football for very long at all.
No, and, it's all dependent on who you got back there. Jake was just one of the exceptional arm strength talent. He was a pure pocket passer. Driscoll, and when you don't have numbers, you don't want to take the risk of him back there, 7-step drops and holding the ball. You want to get it out of his hands quick. You don't want injury.
Driscoll will roll to his right here. Going to throw a deep one on the near sideline and some blown coverage. And there's Cade Allen wide open. He'll walk into the end zone. We're going to see a lot of that this season.
Yeah.
We saw a little bit of Cade Allen last year in some different formations. I know he caught a long touchdown pass from leg earlier in the season. But, again, just his speed is going to be unreal to see this year.
Yeah, it is. These guys at skill position, you're just getting a small taste of what they can do. And if Carmi can open up their offense like this, because – let's face it, when you get in the late part of the season and you get to the playoffs, you're going to have some mix in there. And I think, again, you're seeing that we can do that. We can get in the spread. We can get in trips. We can move the ball, down the field by throwing it, get out on the edge. And if you can do that and maintain, now your run game becomes even more lethal, because they know, okay, when you got them 3rd and long, we're not just going to expect a little toss, or they can throw the ball now.
So 2 receivers out wide to the right, a wing back to the left. Here's a handoff to Noah Pollard and a great kick-out block. I believe that was Gavin Payton, and Pollard's going to truck his way all the way near the 45.
It was a fantastic counter block by Gavin Payton.
That was Gavin Payton who came, and that's another 2A starter, and now in his 3rd year of starting.
And that's the thing, those 5 guys up front that I mentioned, the thing for that, and basically all these guys are going to be frank, we're going to be going both ways. That there's not going to be a lot of rest. So these early games, early in the year when it's hot and there's not you're going to be on the field the whole game.
Yep.
It's going to be about, the condition you're in, how well you're conditioned, and mental, because fourth quarter, you don't want to be fatigued. That's when you want to still be going as hard as you were in the first quarter.
Bulldogs getting a lot of guys rotating in and out on both sides of the football as Driscoll hands it off to Siebers, who hands it off then to Vickers on that double handoff counter, and he'll carry it up past midfield.
That has been a bread and butter play, normally under center for Coach Kurt Simon for 20-some-odd years, but a little variation out of that in the spread. Always love that play, just the misdirection alone. When you're just coming with ISOs and powers off tackle and all of a sudden you mix that counter in there, it's a really good weapon to have.
Bulldogs getting some more rotations in. They're going to send Allen and Huff wide to the left, Huff in the slot. Pollard to the left in the backfield of Driscoll with Vickers on the right side of the wing position. Fake the handoff to Pollard. Driscoll to throw. Stutter step, throws in the flat, and a diving catch is made. No, dropped there by Vickers, and a low pass. Went to go get it. Couldn't squeeze it in.
That's the thing. Just you work out these kinks in the Gator Bowl. But again, nice pass, just a quick out.
It's really the most time that Driscoll has held the ball tonight so far.
And
everything
again,
else has been just a lot of quick passes.
Right. And having time is the key. So in a live game, if we can get this kind of time, your quarterback can do some things. But obviously we're not going to be blitzing or anything like that tonight. But, you will see that in the regular season.
They send Allen and Huff out wide to the right. Play action pass, quick throw to Allen on the screen, and he'll cut to the middle, and there's a little bit of a glimpse of that speed. You haven't seen it a whole lot tonight, but he shows it off right there, and another nice play design. So the Bulldogs will move the football, and we'll see what they want to go to here. So again, you got Allen, you got Pollard. Pollard's going to be more in the backfield along with Siebers, but you're really going to see guys like Allen, guys like Stockton and Huff. They're going to be your wide receivers out wide that Driscoll is going to want to find.
Thank you.
On these pass plays. So we'll see with Allen and Huff being on the sideline here.
And I like that variation a couple plays ago, that wide receiver screen. You saw Austin Owen get out on the perimeter. I think that's a good play out of that formation.
They go power eye here and a handoff to Pollard to the left, and Pollard makes a couple of shimmy moves and gets about 15 yards there.
And that's what we're used to seeing right there. That's bread and butter Carmi football right there as far as the power eye formation. But
really when you think about having these skill position guys to rotate in and out, I'm sure Isaac King in games last season probably just went home and just went straight to bed being so tired, getting so many carries. But now you've got the variation, you've got the mix match of being able to put different guys in different spots, and you could pretty much hand the ball to somebody different every single play.
Yeah, and from a preparation standpoint for the other team,
it tough.
Means you got a lot of people to key on.
Here's a toss to Trayton Vickers. He juggles it, then finally gets possession with a couple of blockers downfield before they blow that play dead. And you can tell they want to get Vickers on some of those trickery plays out wide. He's not going to be a guy that's going to run in between the tackles. They want to get him out in space.
Yeah. And it's good to work on these. These plays are all about timing, as you can see. When you're in the shotgun, you have to be very conscious of being secure with the football, because a fumbled snap when the quarterback is 5 yards back from center is disaster, because at the very best, he's going to fall on it. You're going to take a 5-yard loss. So that's some of the risk of shotgun. It's just, number one, getting the snap. But when you're tossing, when you're handed off from that deep, you got to make sure everything's clean.
Bulldogs go two receivers to each side. Driscoll in the shotgun. Pollard standing next to him. Pollard fakes the handoff and a quarterback run here for Driscoll, and he'll take that one all the way inside the 10. And first time we've seen that tonight.
Yes, I love that variation. That's kind of what they call that's just an option. That's just an option out of the spread. And I personally love those plays. You got two athletes back there. It's like, take your pick, okay? what you do on that, when the back you just saw it is going to the left, the quarterback holds that long enough, the end has to commit. He has to say, okay, am I going to jump down and take the back, or am I going to hold and take the quarterback? And that's who he's reading.
Give it off left side. I believe that is Caleb Siebers running his way to the end zone for a touchdown. Caleb, one of those guys that was a pretty much defense only last season, did get some reps at the running back position, but you're going to see a lot of hard runs into the end zone from him this year.
Yeah. Going back to that formation there, the play before, again, with an athlete like Driscoll, you may be tempted, hey, let's run some option. You can do that. Again, that play, the defensive end has to commit. Am I diving down, taking the back? If I do, the quarterback's pulling the ball and keeping. If the quarterback reads the end and he stays, then he's given. So that's those kind of things are just another thing that make a defense constantly have to think. And I personally would like to see this Driscoll have the ball in his hands some, maybe run some option on the perimeter out of that spread look.
They go back to that spread here with 2 receivers to each side, and a little bit of miscommunication with the offensive line. So again, the Bulldogs will start the season next Friday up in Flora. We'll have it for you both here on the WRUL Sports YouTube channel, as well as 97.3 WRUL, a 7 o'clock kickoff, and we'll have the Taylor Eye Care pregame show at about 6:45 next Friday.
You're looking forward to that one.
Absolutely. Driscoll back to pass here. Untouched rusher coming from the left side. What a catch by Trayton Vickers between a couple of defenders. Is kind of a blown play.
Yeah.
Some missed blocks, but Driscoll still able to make something out of it.
You get a mulligan in these games. That's probably a sack in a game situation. But again,
that's why you do this.
This is why you're practicing. You work out these little things. You make your adjustments now. But, yeah, opening the season with Flora, Bulldog fans will recall week 9 was not a pretty night for Carmi. It was just – you go back to that game, it was just the perfect storm. Bulldogs coming off that deflating loss to Johnson City, and, just everything went wrong that night.
Let's go back to pass here once again. Throws one down the middle of the field, a little too high for Cade Stockton, who was running more of a post route in the middle. We'll try it again.
Yeah. Going back to that, that we talked about that Flora game, anything that could go wrong seemed to go wrong.
Yeah.
The 4th and forever, they're throwing passes, balls get tipped, receiver catches it out of nowhere. Just, it was just the perfect storm. The Bulldogs were flat, again, emotionally, and Flora came in here, played just an incredible game, and got out of here with a win. And I just don't think we recovered after that mentally.
And there's no doubt that game will still be on the mind of these players.
Yeah, that's where I was
Friday.
going. Yes, sir.
Driscoll hands it off. This is going to be Caleb Siebers off the right side. A couple of jukes from Siebers, and nice solid run there.
I'll tell you something about Siebers, too. He was a wrestler watching him last one. And he is strong as an ox, pound for pound strong. Him and Nelson Ryder, Pollard, there's some kids there that are just pure muscle strength, and Caleb is one of them. Caleb is, as a tackler, he even got some time as a sophomore. He is just an intense hitter.
Yeah.
He's probably tackling-wise one of the hardest hitters I've seen, in 20-something years of being here. He's just that intense, especially on the defensive side of the ball. He's a missile.
Of course, a fantastic baseball player as well.
Yeah.
He was all-South after his junior campaign. Driscoll back in the shotgun here. 2 receivers to his left. Dotson, the wingback. Dotson gets it on a sweep. I like that play design. Get Dotson with his speed out in the open.
Yeah, nice turnout block by the left tackle, Bryant, opening that up. But, yeah, Andrew's going to be your in-between-the-tackles grinder this year, at almost 200 pounds. He had bulked up in preparation for this year, and I think he's, like you said, Cole, this is his time. He had a pretty crowded backfield last year, so.
Going to go to the T formation here and change to the right side of the offensive line. And Driscoll will give it off. This is Dotson again off the right side, and you can see him running hard even in the Gator Bowl for a solid 10-yard pickup there.
Yeah.
There's no question. The Bulldogs will get as fancy as they want, but when it's said and done, you can still bet a lot of of wing T and power I.
You always go to work what works the best. At some point, and you can theorize the other way. Yeah, the popularity with football in general, it's kind of like basketballs. Everyone shoots threes.
Yep.
Football at the higher levels is spreading out, winging it all over the field. But at the end of the day, when it's 4th and 2, when you get down inside the 10, what do they have to do? They've got to pound the ball.
Yep.
You have to be able to do that. At the end of the day, that's what wins you games. You got to be able to convert those short yardage situations. It's a lot easier to do that under center than it is 5 yards behind.
We'll go with 2 running backs to each side of Driscoll in the shotgun. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right. Lots of time here for Driscoll. Clutches, throws over the middle, caught by Allen, who will turn upfield and take that into the end zone. Nice job there by Driscoll. He saw the pump fake and a nice bullet over to a slicing Cade Allen.
Well, he did hit him on the slant, but you see Beck Huff out there wide open in the corner of the end zone doing the old hands out. Hey, what about me? We get it. Yeah, we get it.
And again, that's what the Gator Bowl is for.
Yeah. Of course, every quarterback I heard my pastor, Chad Everett, saying a sermon. He played quarterback in high school. And after every time he threw the ball, the 3 other guys that didn't get the pass said,
open.
hey, I'm open. I'm open. 3 guys tell me I'm open. So that's just the nature of that beast.
I'll send 2 receivers out wide left. Again, that's Allen and Huff there in the slot. Looks like Noah Pollard standing left to Driscoll in the shotgun. Dotson is the wing back on the right side. Driscoll going to roll out deep to the pocket on the left side. Now throws on the run, and that's going to be caught by Cade Stockton there on the side. Oh, I think he dropped it just at the last second.
Just off his fingertips, Nice job there by Driscoll rolling out to the left. It seems like a simple thing, but for a right-handed quarterback, rolling out to the left is not easy. It's against every natural process in your body to roll the opposite way, of your predominant hand. It's kind of like asking a right-handed baseball player to, hey, bat left this one. Okay, I'll try. But anytime you roll your quarterback out to the left and he's right-handed, you're asking him to really do some things that are kind of against the grain. So that was really a good throw rolling out to the left there.
They got this football inside the 15-yard line. So here's your red zone offense. As Driscoll fakes the handoff in the pocket, they try to dump off a screen here, a middle screen for Caleb Siebers, and that one works for another touchdown.
Just in time. There's also that, what they call in a quarterback's head, that mental clock. He had pressure coming off the left edge there. So you as a quarterback, okay, if I'm holding it this long, by now there should be some pressure coming. Even though you don't see it, it's just kind of, you sense it. So when it's coming from the blind side, the quarterback has to kind of have the eyes in the back of their head to know, okay, I've held it this long. Someone's got to be open, or I got to do something with it. I can't take that blind side hit, especially if it's a situation where they're reading blitz, guys stacked at the line of scrimmage.
And especially on those screen passes.
Yes.
Those offensive line, usually it's 3 Mississippi, then they're out of there.
It's timing.
Yeah.
Precision timing.
Driscoll back under center here in the power I formation. They toss it. This is Noah Pollard, who gets to the outside, then cuts back to the inside. A little shove there on Milhorn at the end of the play.
I tell you, old Milhorn's just he's one either getting picked on or something. Twice now. Old Pollard's like, hey, I wanted to let you know they're there.
Get a reminder, we will have our first Lady Bulldog volleyball broadcast Monday night, as they'll be here at home against Mount Carmel. Jason Craig back behind the microphone. Will be the voice of Lady Bulldog volleyball this season.
Perfect guy to do that.
Absolutely.
Former volleyball skipper for a lot of years here.
So back in the power I formation is Driscoll under center. And a fake handoff left, and then a give to the right to Siebers, who cuts up the middle. And a solid run there once again. So again, the Bulldogs, 8 games on their schedule right now. The big question is, will they find someone to fill that week 3 void And that's got to be a nightmare for Kurt Simon. You
Yeah.
got to think he's worried enough about playing floor week 1, but now you throw on the top of the fact that he's got to find a game to play in week 3.
I got to get film on him.
Yeah.
We've never played him. It's a nightmare scenario. It really is.
Driscoll back to pass, double handoff to Dotson. That one a little bit buffery in the backfield as somebody shot through the line. I believe that was Dylan Weinberger, the freshman, that tried to blow that play up.
A little miscommunication up front and kind of with the handoff there.
And that's one of those plays where if someone does shoot into the backfield, it could be disaster.
The double handoff's going to take a little longer. The design of it is to fool the defense, but the mechanics have to work perfectly. When you're handed the ball off twice, the biggest risk is a miscommunication and you fumble, because running backs are used to receiving the ball. They're not handed it off. So that has to be really smooth.
One thing is Carmi did not fumble the football very much last year. And they did not turn the ball over a whole lot last year, and that had to do a lot with the maturity and the leadership of that senior class.
Yes.
But then again, here comes that part with new guys that have never been the lead guy or get a lot of carries.
Yeah.
Ball security is going to be a big thing, because in those big conference games, turnovers make the difference.
You have to do the little things well.
Driscoll to pass once again, and here's a jet sweep, and it's going to be a double pass. Siebers to throw. There's some trickery to Kate Allen for a big play. How about a halfback pass?
There you go.
Haven't seen that one in quite some time.
Coach Simon getting all the bag of tricks out here in the Gator Bowl, because I got a feeling you're not going to see that too often this year. So.
And that's going to be a good play to end it on. A little halfback pass from Caleb Siebers to Kate Allen. I'll tell you what, Chris, Bulldog fans have a lot to be excited for this group. I know it's only the Gator Bowl and you can only tell so much, but it's going to be a very interesting season.
Very much so. I'm really excited to see what this group can do. Again, to me, the experience up front is something you have to be very excited about, very positive, but also these skill kids. Like you said, we're gonna be able to open up this offense a little bit. I really believe that. And great group of seniors, great group of juniors, sophomores, freshmen. I mean, even though they're small in number, the kids you have are just 100% effort guys. Got a lot of experience coming back, a lot of athleticism. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this team can do. I think it's going to be a great season. You look at the schedule, and we can get into this in a minute, but the obvious big three are going to be Fairfield. Fairfield's going to be loaded for bear. Apparently, they have a freshman quarterback who is like otherworldly, and they're going to have their good running back from injury. Johnson City's still going to be stacked. Cesar's still going to be stacked. We play two of those teams at home, but we go to Fairfield. So that's the meat of your schedule. That's going to be the big dogs in the conference. But, week in, week out, I think this team will compete with anybody.
And again, it starts for real next Friday as the Bulldogs travel up to Flora. It's a long bus ride, but I don't think anybody, as far as the Bulldogs, could pick a better opponent to start the year. The bad taste in the mouth that was left last season from the Wolves here at home. The Dogs with a chance for redemption next Friday night. That game will start at 7 o'clock. We'll have the Taylor Eye Care pregame show for you at about 6:45 as me and Chris and the WRUL Sports YouTube channel crew will be up in Flora next Friday night. It's going to be a fun year, Chris. I'm looking forward to it.
Same here. Look forward to working with you.
Big thanks to Haley Winkelman and Asher Penrod helping us out tonight, as well as the boss man, J.C. Tinsley. Next time you hear me and Chris, it will be week 1 of the high school football season next Friday night. Have a great night, Bulldog fans.